talk to Roland this week, so I'm going to sing to Roland. Hello, Roland. Hello, Roland. Hello, Roland. It's time to say hello. I didn't talk to any other students. I did get a voicemail from Tanaya's mom. How about let's sing to Tanaya. Hello, Tanaya. Hello, Tanaya. Hello, Tanaya. It's time to say hello. Hello, Keidan Rising Stars. It's not morning, it's nighttime. I'm recording this in advance for you because I'm not in school today. Tuesday, June 2nd. Let's move our calendar. Today is Tuesday, or when you're watching this, it will be Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020, the second day of June. And I promised you that we would fill in our calendar with special days. So we have a special day on the 14th. The 14th is Flag Day, so that is a very special day where we celebrate our flag and our country. It's a very patriotic day, much like Memorial Day that we just had. On the 19th, there's actually two special things about the 19th. It is our last day of school for the 2019-20 school year, so some of you maybe won't be checking into our online classes anymore. So Friday the 19th is our last day. Teachers might correct me. I'm not sure if the students' last day is the 18th and our day is the 19th, or if everybody's done on the 19th. We might have to adjust that one. But June 19th is also a special day for many states in the United States. It's a holiday called Juneteenth, and it is the day that the last slaves in the United States were emancipated, which means set free. So that's a special day too. The other day that I'm going to put on the calendar, and I'm just going to use the hearts for that one, is June 21st. That's Father's Day, when we celebrate the men who care for us and love us and treat us like dads. So that's a good day too. So we've got 3 holidays coming up, but the end of school is also coming up. So that's an interesting day to look forward to, because really we ended school seeing each other in person a long time ago. It's been quite a while. So that is our June calendar. I'll bet there are some birthdays in there too. If your birthday is in June, let me know. We'll put a special cupcake on there for you. But speaking of cupcakes and treats, here is my question of the day. It's another food question. What do you like? Do you like chocolate or chips? And the next couple of days when I am sitting on the couch recovering, I am probably going to be eating some chocolate and some chips. I like them both. If I had to pick though, and I could only have one, I actually think I might pick chips. Chips might be my favorite. So I like chips. What do you like? You could tell your teacher. You could tell the grown-up that you're watching this with. You could point at it, or you could look at it. Which one do you like best? Chocolate or chips? I'm curious to know. I'll bet there's a pretty good mix of everybody. I'll bet there's a good mix. But before you eat, you have to wash your hands. Do you remember the hand washing song? We have not sung it in a couple of weeks, so let's sing the hand washing song. Remember, we've got to use our hand movements when we do it so that we get our hands nice and clean, right? We have to get our hands nice and clean. So how does it start? It starts with tops and bottoms, tops and bottoms, in between, and then we scrub them both together until they're clean. All right, you ready to sing? Tops and bottoms, tops and bottoms, in between, rub them both together, scrub them all together, now they're clean, squeaky clean. Tops tops and bottoms, tops and bottoms, in between, rub them both together, scrub them all together, now they're clean, squeaky clean. You know, we are starting to open up, and some families are inviting more and more people into their homes, and we're starting to go out places. We have to remember it is important that we still wash our hands and that we don't touch our face and we put our hands in our mouth, because that is an easy way for us to get sick. Whether it's COVID-19 or just the flu, we can get sick by putting our hands in our mouth and not keeping our hands nice and clean. Thank you for closing the door. There's going to be some noise in my house, so she closed the door for me. So washing our hands is a really important thing, especially as we start to feel a little bit more comfortable going out into the world. We have to keep those hands clean to make sure that we don't get sick or that we don't get other people sick. That's important. So I'm going to read another book. It's another duplicate. I read this one when we were in school, and I have read it since we've been home from school, but I think it's a really nice book because it's about our city. And only people that have been to Detroit or who live in Detroit know some of the things in this book. It makes it a really special one. It's called Lulu and Rocky in Detroit, and it's by, I'm going to say her last name is Joose, by Barbara Joose. Joose. It's a funny name. So, and Renee Graff. I'm not sure how to say the illustrator's name either. They have very interesting names. But they're not my friends, so I don't know how to say their names perfectly. I just do the best I can. So we have a couple of characters in this book, but one of the cool things about this book is look at the map in the front of this book. You can for sure find your way around by using a map, can't you? And some of you, if you look very closely, might see some things that you either remember from the last time we read this book or places that you've been with your family or maybe even with school, because our school does some pretty fun trips. So this is Rocky. He's a raccoon. And this is Lulu. She's also a raccoon. They can't really talk. It's just pretend. But we're going to read the book because it's about Lulu and Rocky. A purple envelope arrives. Dear Rocky, are you ready for 3 days of adventure? Join Lulu and her friend Pufferson and motor to Detroit in a classic Ford coupe. Then head to the Foundation Hotel. Aunt Fancy. That was the letter that was in the envelope. Lulu is my cousin and best friend. She gets her invitation by email. Which do you like better? That should be a question of the day. Do you like letters or do you like emails better? I like letters. Oops, I turned too many pages. No, I didn't. Just joking. Mr. Crazy Pants, yells Lulu, who's as fizzy as a shook-up pop bottle. We bear hug and foxbox. Then we smoosh together in this super cool car, and I really, really want to go fast. But Pufferson is always careful. So he drives slow. And he drives right past this big tire on the side of the road. It is so big. Maybe you have seen that tire on the side of the road. It is only near our city. It's not actually in Detroit, but it is on the highway on the way to Detroit. It's very close to my grandmother's house. So that was something that I remember looking at when I was a little girl, the Uniroyal tire. And maybe you could talk to the adults that you're with and ask them if they know what's inside of the Uniroyal tire. That could be a trivia question. If you know, you could leave an answer in our Teams classroom. It'll be a trivia question. Do you know what's inside the Uniroyal tire? That's a question I've told you at school, so we'll see who remembers. Welcome to the Foundation Hotel, says Mr. Reggie, the concierge. Then he winks and says, you three are as cute as a bug's ear. It's a fancy word, a concierge. A concierge is an employee at a hotel who helps you find things. He helps you if you need a taxi. He helps you know the fun things to go and do, where you should go and eat. So if you're staying at a place that you're not familiar with, the concierge, he's a good guy to help. But concierge could be a woman too. In this case, it's Mr. Reggie. The Foundation Hotel, look how fancy it is full of little lights that make me feel like I'm in the middle of Christmas. It used to be a fire station, and there are big red doors where the fire engines once passed, and also fire poles, and a table where you can do puzzles and games. I've never been to the Foundation Hotel. That's on my bucket list. It's in Detroit. It's in our city. Mr. Reggie reads a letter from Aunt Fancy. So here's the letter he's reading. It says, hello. Each day, Mr. Reggie will reveal your adventure assignments. When you've explored the very last one, you'll discover Detroit. Aunt Fancy. Mr. Reggie hands us our adventure assignments for the day, and we're off. Now, Miss McKinney, if you are listening to this, we did not make it to this hotel, and it needs to be on our list. So, Miss Skinny, get on it. We need to schedule this play date. When things open up and when I feel healthy again, it's on. We're going. First, we walk to Campus Martius, an excellent place to make sandcastles. Pufferson makes a sand igloo. Next up, Coney dogs. But which diner's best? Lulu tries Lafayette. I try American. American's top dog. Lafayette. American. Lafayette. Then we hop on the People Mover. And it is just about time for them to be bringing sand down to Campus Martius for the summertime. But I'm not sure if we'll have sand downtown this summer. But you could go to American or Lafayette to get a Coney dog. That would be another good question of the day. Which Coney dog do you like the best? I'm going to tell you, I like Lafayette because that's where my grandma took me when I was a little girl. That's my favorite. And the People Mover is like an elevated train that takes you in a loop around the city. Lots of beautiful art at stations for the People Mover. So we hop on the People Mover to the Fox Theater and walk through the golden doors to see a show. Holy Foxoli! Lulu whispers, I feel like I'm in a palace. And it's true. If you've ever been to the Fox Theater, lots of things are golden and beautiful and so fancy. They're so fancy at the Fox Theater. My great aunt tells me she used to go there to see movies. I can't imagine that just for a place to see movies. I only see I've seen concerts there. I've seen plays there. It's a very fancy place. After the show, we cross the street to Sports Fan Heaven, where the stadium for 4 teams, the Red Wings, the Lions, the Pistons, and the Tigers are close by. At Comerica Park, we hear the best sound ever. Crack! That one is long gone. What stadium do you think that is in front of? Do you think that that is the Lions, the Tigers, the Pistons, or the Red Wings? What one did I forget? Who did I forget? Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons. That's 4. Who do you think that one is? Did you guess Tigers? You're right. There are big statues of tigers out there. Some of them, you can look, some of the tigers have baseballs in their mouth because it's at the baseball stadium. Lulu and I ride along the DeQuinder Cut. Pufferson's legs are too short to reach the bike pedals, so he rides with me. Later, he sends a picture to Aunt Fancy. And some of you walked part of the DeQuinder Cut last spring with me. We went on a walk when we went to the Adventure Center. So maybe you remember that, but there are lots of murals on the DeQuinder Cut. It's a nice place to walk. That night, Mr. Reggie asks, "What did you discover?" "Detroit is fancy like a palace," says Lulu. "And sporty like a stadium," I say. "Detroit is that and more," says Mr. Reggie. Then he hands us our adventure assignments for tomorrow. Where do you think they'll go next? You think it's a place that we've been? Our first assignment is Eastern Market. We buy cherries. Oopsie daisy. Why is Pufferson saying oopsie daisy? What did he do? He's looking at the ground. Do you think those cherries belong on the ground? I think he dropped them. At Belle Isle, we visit the aquarium. Later, we fish from a pier. When we catch, we release, so the aquarium fish aren't sad. And some of you got a chance to go to the Belle Isle Aquarium with your class and see the beautiful fish that they have in there. At the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, we learn about heroes from Africa to Detroit. We are inspired. And there are all sorts of people there that have done amazing things for the world and for our country. So lots of good things. But that is a beautiful museum to go and learn about people who have made a change in the world. They have done good things. Are there any people there that you know? I bet some of you know Aretha Franklin because she was a singer. But Sojourner Truth was important because she helped free slaves. Harriet Tubman also helped free slaves. So Dr. King is there. A lot of people have been talking about Dr. King this week because of how he led protests. And they think that he was a very peaceful man and he led peaceful protests. And maybe that's how we should be doing things. Not everybody agrees. But all of these people, Jacob Lawrence and Frederick Douglass and Charles Wright and Ida B. Wells, they all did things that helped make our world a better place. Maybe someday one of you will be in the Charles H. Wright Museum and inspire other people. Maybe. Hitsville, USA is home of the Motown sound where everybody sings together in harmony, making their voices sound like one. When we sing to Aunt Fancy, we pretend we are the Three Tops. It's another place I haven't been. Miss Kinney, that was on our list too. I'm calling you out today. We were supposed to do these things. Do you remember? It was going to be in... Was it going to be in March? February? I don't remember. Got to make a plan. The next day, we explore the Ford Piquette Avenue plant where Henry Ford designed and built the first Model T. In the beginning, his inventions weren't perfect, but they kept getting better. We crank the engine with the flywheel Magento and head out to Henry Ford's secret experimental room. Now I want to be an inventor too. Our next adventure assignment is the Detroit Institute of Arts. Look at all of those inventions that are in there. All of those gears and mechanical things that make things go. We walk through the gate to awesome. This is one of the most amazing pieces of art because it's not painted on something that can be shared any other place other than in our city. It's painted right on the walls of our museum, just for our city, just for Detroit. Lulu says, this makes me feel small on the outside, but big on the inside. There are lots of things to look for in this mural. There are vegetables that you can look for, and there's machinery that you can look for, and people that are working hard, changing things from when we used to be a farming community to when we turned to industry. All sorts of things in there. That is a very famous painting. And you have to come to Detroit to see it. You can't see it anywhere else unless there's a picture of it in a book. That's not quite the same. The riverfront is Detroit's hello place, where everybody greets everybody. When we ride the carousel, we say hello to Canada on the other side of the river. Hello, Canada. Hello, Detroit. And that carousel is a fun one to ride because all of the animals on the carousel are watery characters or watery animals. Frogs and fish and water birds, all sorts of things. On our last morning, I feel like I skipped a page. No, I guess I didn't. On our last morning, we video chat with Aunt Fancy. Aunt Fancy, you said when we complete our adventure assignment, we'll discover Detroit. But I'm not sure what that means. That's because you haven't seen the fist, a sculpture honoring Joe Louis, the great boxer who never gave up, says Aunt Fancy. The fist tells the story of Detroit. We thank Aunt Fancy for our Detroit adventure. Then we start walking. And there it is. The fist, big and strong. Then it hits me. Pow! Detroit is everybody's voice. Sounding like one. It's music and murals and motors and never giving up. Now it's time to go home. We say goodbye to Mr. Reggie. Lulu says, don't forget us, Mr. Reggie. And he says, how could I forget you? He winks. You're the cat's pajamas, which means he likes us. Then we wave goodbye to Joe Louis. We wave goodbye to Mr. Reggie, Hitsville, Coney Dogs, Roly-Poly Cherries, and the Tigers. We wave goodbye to Detroit, and Detroit waves back. The back of this book, it has lots and lots of facts about all of the places that Lulu and Rocky went. But some of those you already know about. I know you recognized some of those because we talked about them in class. And as things start to open up and maybe you're thinking about what you can do with your family, maybe you can explore Detroit too. Maybe you could go some places and see things. But wear a mask, wash your hands, try to be safe while you're doing it. Because really, even though the shelter in place is being lifted, that doesn't mean that COVID is going away. It just means the hospitals are more ready for us. So we still need to stay safe. We still need to be healthy. We still need to take care of one another. Let's sing another hand washing song on that one. So let's sing the ABC's hand washing song, okay? A, B, C, D, E, F, Keidan. Make sure that you are washing your hands. Make sure that you are eating something healthy today, and make sure that you are kind to one another. I love you and I miss you. I will record another video, so you'll have one for Wednesday, and then I'll be back again on Thursday. So I'll see you then. Take care.